So hey everybody, welcome back to Bow and Arrow Garage. In my last video, you saw me pull the engine out of my C3 Corvette, and you saw me start working on the LS1 engine that I bought for the car. So in this video, my goal is to get this engine completely back together and ready to install in the car. And I've got a lot of work before I get there, but before I start on it, I want to wish everybody that's watching a happy Thanksgiving. So this video should come out the weekend before Thanksgiving, and then my next video won't come out till the weekend after. So I want to take this opportunity to wish you and all your family a happy and a healthy Thanksgiving, and I pray that you will be blessed throughout this holiday season. So without any further ado, I'm going to go ahead and I'll turn the camera around. I'll show you everything that I bought for the engine, and then we'll jump in and we'll get to work on this thing. Okay, so I purchased this camshaft from Summit Racing. It's a SUM 8713 R1. Basically, R1 just denotes that it was a complete kit. And this camshaft has a duration of 222, 232. And I had done a lot of research basically on how to select a proper camshaft for your vehicle. And a lot of people were recommending a camshaft with basically a duration on the intake valve of about 226, a little bit higher with some, but I got some conflicting information saying that basically because the LS1 has flat top pistons that you can't really go over much over 227. And so I wanted to kind of scale it back a little bit. And so basically I settled on about a 222, 223 intake duration. And I was trying to keep it around 230 on the exhaust. So Summit had this camshaft. Like I said, it's a 222, a 232 duration cam. The max lift is about 550, a little bit over 550, I think. So it did come with the spring kit, and I'm going to be installing that also. But I also got new lifter trays for the engine. I'll be installing those. If you watched my video on my truck, you know that the lifter guides on these engines, in my opinion, are the Achilles heel of the engine, so I'm going to be replacing that. I got valve stem seals, I got a new camshaft sprocket, and one of the most important things to me is I got this ARP stud kit for the engines. I talked about it previously that I don't really like bolts in these aluminum blocks. I've read a lot of horror stories about the bolts pulling out when people are torquing the heads. So I wanted to go with the studs. The studs are a lot more expensive, but at the end of the day, they're going to save me any headaches. So I did a lot of cleaning on the heads last week. I've still got a little bit more to do. I'm going to be pulling the valves out, and I'm going to be changing the valve springs and the valve stem seals. And when I did my truck, I tried to record that process, but the videos didn't come out very well. So I'm going to try to record that in better detail this time. And I'll basically show you changing the springs out, the springs and the retainers, and cleaning the valves and getting everything cleaned up and getting the heads ready to install on the engine. So anyways, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and jump into the work, and we'll get this thing done.
Okay, I wanted to get a good video of this part. I'm going to go ahead and remove these the valve springs. I'm using the comp cam tool 5462. It's a LS valve spring compressor tool. And you basically just have your rocker girdles in. You bolt this part down. You place this over the springs. You lube that ball in just to reduce friction, it says. And be very careful to wear eye protection. And just tighten this down.
right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and call it a night. I got all the valves out of the heads. I've got the springs set to the side. I'm gonna come in tomorrow. I'm gonna clean the heads up really good before I reassemble everything. I'll put everything together, and then I'll go ahead and get the cam swap down on the engine, and then I'll get the heads on, and then we'll be that much closer. So anyways, that's gonna be it for the night. We'll see you in the morning. Okay, guys, it's the next day here. It's cold and wet out, but I've actually been out here in the garage for about 5 hours now, and I was just cleaning up all the parts. I cleaned the heads really good, cleaned the rocker arms, getting everything ready to assemble the heads. Once I get them assembled, I'll go ahead and change the cam out on the engine, and I'll throw the heads on and get the rocker arms and everything completely installed. Okay, so I ran into a little snag. So I ordered this cam kit from Summit, and it came with valve stem seals and new locks. So the problem is that I've built a couple of LS engines before, and the valve stem seals are always different colors. So typically you have brown and black seals from GM. The brown ones are intake and the black ones are exhaust. And the reason being is because the exhaust are subject to more extreme heat, and so the brown ones won't stand up to the heat. Well, I got this kit and it has 16, and they're all brownish in color. And so it's the kit from Summit, but the valve stem seals are from Trick Flow, and it's a kit. It's SME 143008. And so I called Summit, and they said that you could use them, and I wasn't really sure if I wanted to take the chance. So I went over to O'Reilly's, and I was going to buy a Felpro kit, and the Felpro kit had these exact same valve stem seals for the exhaust side. So the thing is you can use the exhaust on the intake side, but you can't use the intake on the exhaust side. So the Felpro kit had blue seals for the intake, and these kind of reddish brown seals for the exhaust. Blue, I guess, being for cold, and red being for the hot side. So I'm gonna go ahead and run with it. I didn't want to purchase another set. It was only 35 bucks, but when you start looking at all the stuff you're buying when you're doing something like this, that $35 adds up over and over again. So anyways, so I'm just gonna run with this. I think it's gonna be okay, and I'm gonna get these things installed. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get set up to get these valves reinstalled. So I cleaned them up. Everything looks really good. So I'm supposed to install these with moly grease or with clean engine oil. I'm just going to use engine oil. On the stem. And so typically what I'll do is I'll just take a rag and I'll just set it under the combustion chamber to hold the valves up. And then so I certainly hope these are the right seals. I think they are after looking at the Felpro kit at O'Reilly's. They look like the exact same seals. So I'm just gonna go with them. And I got my new springs. And I've just got a pan of oil. I don't think you can see it on the camera over here that I'm soaking my lifters in. So just using that to lubricate everything. I'm a big believer in can't have too much lubrication. I wanted to show the installation of the springs from a different perspective, so I'm going to go ahead and run them down. I'm going to take them all the way down until the springs basically bottom out, which is pretty close to right there. And then slide the keepers on. Okay, there's one. Oops. All right. All right, that's literally how long it should take. Okay, the heads are finally assembled. They're clean and they are ready for installation. Okay, now that I got the heads ready, I'm going to go ahead and pull this cam retaining plate off, and then I'll get the cam out and we'll get the new one cleaned up and get it installed. So, go ahead and get this puppy out of here. All right, so I got the cam in, the lifters in, the lifter trays. I've got the block surfaces cleaned up. I've got the cylinder head surfaces cleaned up. So I'm going to go ahead and start installing the heads here in just a minute. I have the gasket marked front to the front, and then the water holes are open. So. There it goes. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get all my studs threaded into the block, and then I'll go through the torque sequence. Well, that turned out to be much more of a pain in the butt than I thought it was gonna be. Quite frankly, I should have recorded installing those studs because they were kind of a pain in the butt. And I had super cleaned the holes. I mean, I went in there and really cleaned them out really good, so. So anyways, guys, I'm going to end the video there tonight. I am not going to be putting out a video tonight. Obviously, it's really late, and I haven't even started editing it yet. So it's going to have to wait till the next day or two. Anyways, because of Thanksgiving, I have a little more time off than I normally do. So the video is going to be late, but I'm going to get it out as soon as I can. Anyways, I'm really happy with the progress that I made. I've got a long way to go, but it's looking really good. So pretty happy with it. The heads came out really good. These ARP studs were definitely the right choice, even though they were pretty expensive. So anyways, I'm going to end the video there, and we'll pick it up next time.